Now, at the beginning of 2022, the NBA trade deadline looms forward. By February 10th, major decisions will have to be made that could surely shape the future of the NBA. As for James Harden, he's espousing ideas of finding greener pastures for the next season. So, let's go through the media pages and find out what he has in mind for 2022. Then, be sure to stick around till the end of this video and get an extra bonus of why James "the Beard" Harden is one of the hardest in the league if left unfettered from outside arbitrary mandates on his colleagues. Word has gotten out, circulated around the league, and hit the sound system of fans. James Harden has a strong inclination to test the open market. This news is quite extraordinary, as when analysts and fans alike look back on his 13-year career, Harden has never been a free agent. But now, James Harden, the former MVP, has true intentions of obtaining unrestricted free agency for the first time in his career. And this is blowing the mind of many fans. Where could this actually lead? His fans are desperately keen to know. Here's what Harden actually wants according to the ears on the court. Harden remains invested in competing for the title in Brooklyn this season, according to multiple sources with knowledge of the situation and ears on the courts. And word has it that Harden has recently informed several confidants, including former teammates and coaches, of his interest in exploring other opportunities outside of Brooklyn in the summer of 2022. But the Nets head office understands that since James "the Beard" Harden has been with the Nets, they've been able to outscore opponents by more than 100 points when the Beard is on the floor. Harden has had some hard times. He's had to shoulder the majority of the offensive burden during Brooklyn's home games. And he's been politely vocal to the Nets head honchos about his frustrations regarding Kyrie Irving's part-time playing status due to the nonconformity of the jab mandates. Then, his other star player, Kevin Durant, suffered a recent injury. To add more burdens on James Harden, Nets coach Steve Nash's fluid rotations have also aggravated Harden. According to the keen ears on the court and in the locker room, Nash has favored hot hand closing lineups rather than a fixed crunch time unit. Lord have mercy, Harden is having problems. Aside from the pile of disappointments Harden had been facing, living in Brooklyn is also taking its toll on him. According to multiple sources, Harden has not enjoyed living in Brooklyn compared to his days as a Central Houston magnate. Outside of the changing climate, the chasm between state taxes in New York versus Texas is quite obvious as well. And there lies a big reason why folks are fleeing New York and California as if there's a new biblical exodus. But before we digress, let's be crystal clear. There has been no trade request. A Nets-Sixers deal is highly unlikely to materialize prior to the deadline. Yet Harden's apparent openness to joining Joel Embiid and reuniting with Philadelphia president Daryl Morey will loom over the Sixers trade conversations. Harden is hardened to claim that championship. With NBA championship glory on his mind, it's clear to see that if Harden were to reach free agency, teaming with Embiid in Philadelphia would present one of the few situations that could offer Harden a sure chance to capture the championships he wholeheartedly desires. Since his Rockets days, Dwayne Wade's 3 titles have long been somewhat of a self-imposed benchmark for Harden's career. His connection to Morey is clear, and Harden is also known to hold a relationship with Michael Rubin, a Sixers limited partner who bought a minority share of the team in 2011. So, make no mistake about it, both the Sixers front office and Harden himself are viewing that potential marriage as a backstop for their respective futures. Philadelphia officials and executives across the league continue to monitor Bradley Beal's status in Washington. Word has it that Philadelphia is not necessarily holding on to Ben Simmons to acquire Harden this summer. So, what's Brooklyn's reaction to potentially losing Harden? Brooklyn would need to be a willing participant, of course, for any sign and trade to happen. If Harden ever does formally communicate his interest in playing elsewhere this summer, the Nets would likely be hard-pressed to find a greater return for Harden than Simmons. And this, of course, is assuming that Simmons can rediscover his all-star skill set. Simmons was the Rockets' runner-up offer for Harden a year ago, and the Sixers have signaled a willingness to attach additional assets to acquire players such as Harden or Lillard. And it's been a real struggle. According to league sources who disclosed information to Bleacher Report, for Simmons to be dealt now, as his camp clearly hopes will materialize, Philadelphia has remained primarily engaged with Atlanta and Sacramento of late. The Kings have shown a willingness to take back Tobias Harris's contract in addition to Simmons. The Hawks, however, are uninterested in acquiring Harris in order to land Simmons at this time and have been searching for a third team to function as a trade partner. The main sources with their ears on the court have surmised that as the Sixers continue to hold firm in their lofty asking price, that Harden-sized elephant is still dominating the room. While both Atlanta and Sacramento have emerged as strong suitors for Jeremy Grant, and as of recent, the Hawks and Kings join a list of teams that includes the Lakers, Trailblazers, Knicks, Jazz, and Timberwolves, among others. And word has come out that the Bulls have continued exploring avenues to land Grant without sacrificing prize swingman Patrick Williams. As for more trade frenzy, there's been no direct indication on particular trade frameworks for Atlanta's pursuit of Grant. The Hawks have grown more active in searching for a new home for John Collins, yet Collins' salary works in a direct swap for Grant. The Kings are said to have removed De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton from any ongoing trade conversations, though Marvin Bagley III has consistently drawn interest from Detroit, according to sources on the court. According to those same sources who make a living following the latest NBA moves and calculating projections, executives around the league are still waiting for this NBA trade market's first major domino to fall. Simmons was recently labeled by one general manager as the linchpin of this deadline, but it seems as clear as ever that Philadelphia won't budge unless a rival offer can surpass a possibly bearded running mate for Embiid come July. But the bottom line with James Harden is that the NBA calendar approaches. That February 10th trade deadline is right around the corner, and word has circulated around the league about James Harden's increased interest in testing the open market waters this summer. This new Harden interest, as impending free agency is impacting the Philadelphia 76ers asking price for Ben Simmons, who is a 13-year career vet. Harden is hard. Harden stays invested in competing for the title in Brooklyn. But Harden has told a number of confidants, from former teammates to current coaches, that he's dead set on exploring different alternatives exterior of Brooklyn this summer as a means of getting that NBA championship ring and the fame that comes with it. As a matter of fact, one of James Harden's confidants gave a statement on the matter saying, "James isn't going to hold back. He's going to tell you where he stands." So, since we know where Harden stands with regards to doing what's necessary for NBA championship victory, here's some reminders of why he's the man with a plan and has the clout to make waves in the NBA. He's put in the work and has risen in the list of NBA greats. Harden was selected with the 3rd overall pick in the 2009 NBA draft by the Oklahoma City Thunder. By 2012, he had already been named NBA Sixth Man of the Year and took the Oklahoma City Thunder to the NBA Finals. The following year, he balled with the Houston Rockets and set several team records, including All-NBA Team and NBA All-Star Team, and he remained an All-Star for 8 consecutive seasons. But he wasn't finished at that point. Over the next 7.5 seasons with the Houston Rockets, James Harden became as feared as Blackbeard, as he was NBA's top-notch in scoring 3 times and assists once. In 2018, he was given the prestige title of NBA's most valuable player. And even with the Brooklyn Nets, he wrangled in his 9th consecutive All-Star game. After he was named to the NBA 75th anniversary team, all doubt subsided that James Harden is one of the greatest of all time.